Welcome to the People Leaders Podcast, the audio resource for managers and business leaders creating high-performing teams. Join leadership and team development experts Jan and Michelle Turkelson each week as they explore both subjects from every angle. Through practical tips, valuable insights, and compelling interviews with leadership experts around the world, you'll learn how to bring out the best in your staff and how to give your best as a leader.
So, Michelle, we're going to talk about relationship building in this podcast. We have been coaching a number of people who have been given feedback from their managers around the importance of building their brand
or their reputation.
Yeah, and ultimately that is really about building relationships. Any community or organisation is a living, breathing organism. And for that organism to be effective, it needs to have clarity. It needs to have those communication channels open and to be able to kind of like have that free flow of information. And information flows to where it's appreciated and organised. And as a person in an organisation, you need to have really, well defined and appreciated relationships.
Yeah, so if you think about the term brand, some people might have a brand as being, highly competent, but you don't want to just be somebody who is highly competent or highly technically competent. You want to be able to have a well-rounded brand. So that's what we're talking about here. It's actually expanding and developing the way that people see you in the organisation, not just as someone who's super reliable or someone, he or she's a good bloke
or just gets the job done. Because in times when you actually need things done and you need to kind of rely on people, you want to have some connection with that person because they're going to give you that extra information that you need or the heads up or...
That's right, and you don't want to be just you don't want to be the one person that has that single reputation for everyone in the organisation. So for some people in the organisation, you might be a safe pair of hands, but for other people in the organisations, you might be that creative person that gives them, So what we're talking about here is expansion, expanding your repertoire and building relationships.
And like anything, it actually takes quality and practice.
Correct.
To get good at anything.
So, of course, we've got a template, Jan.
Yes. So it really is a useful tool to plan a strategy for developing relationships and networks across an organisation. And a tip here is you can do it singularly, so for yourself, but you could also use it as a team. As a way of focusing your team on building their relationships.
Yeah, so particularly if you're talking about stakeholder relationships, this is a perfect tool to use in team environment.
So for people who are driving and don't have the template in front of them, just imagine this is the relationship quadrant, and it's a 4-box quadrant, and it's got an axis on the left hand side, the vertical. Which is a rating scale. So this relates to how people rate you. So how do they rate your reputation, your expertise, your knowledge, your performance?
Basically, what do they think of you? How would they rate you?
That's right. From low to low, that's right. And
low to
then
high.
On the horizontal scale, we have the strength of your relationship. And
So do you have a open and transparent relationship? Is there a high level of trust? Is there two-way feedback? What is the level of cooperation between you and either this group or this individual? And again, that's from low to high, the strength of the relationship. So what you end up with is a 4-box quadrant. Top left is where people rate you highly, but you have a weak relationship. In the top right, it would be you're highly rated and a strong relationship, so you definitely want to leverage that one. And then in the bottom left, it's poorly rated, so they rate you pretty poorly and you have a weak relationship, so there's a lot of work to do there. And then in the bottom right, it's you're poorly rated by them, but you have a strong relationship.
I know. I was just
what do you call that, Jen?
No, so I was just thinking of the bottom left. So it's low in rated and relationship. That's kind of like you've done something at a Christmas party.
Yeah,
that's that type of issue.
Poorly rated and weak relationship, or they don't know you. Clearly they don't know you.
Yeah. Okay, so the activity is...
Oh, no, but what you said was, the bottom right, poorly rate, like they rate you poorly, but you've got a really strong relationship. We call that a friend.
Very good, yeah. All right, so the activity is to list the people within your organisation where you have an existing relationship and you wish to build a relationship. And you write their names into the relevant quadrants, which we've just iterated, and based on how they rate you and the strength of your relationship. So this could be something that you might want to check with a colleague or a friend, or again, if you're going to do it in a team.
And what a great thing to do with your manager is just do the 4 boxes and have a look at what your manager would see as somebody that rates you highly, because they get to know even more before you do about what others think of you. Yeah. So that would be really interesting for them to have a look at. So who are the people that rate you highly? Who are the people that rate you poorly? And then you talk about, you are the best one to determine whether you have a weak or a strong relationship, I think.
Yeah. So then the next part of the tool is, action. All right. So nothing happens until something moves. And so, the question is, what steps can you take? Right. So to build a relationship with those people who rate you highly, though your relationship is not strong, right? So what could you do?
Okay, so they obviously think that you're pretty good. So what you could do is offer to work with them on a project. You could offer them some research that you may have done. It's actually, making a connection. It shouldn't be hard to make a connection with these people because they rate you.
That's right.
Positively.
Set up a knowledge sharing forum with their team.
Offer to mentor someone in their team. Lots of things you could do.
Okay, so to enlist the help of those who think highly of you and have a strong relationship. So
this is the one you definitely want to leverage as much. You want to juice this for all that you can. So get them to introduce you to key people in the organisation, to attend meetings or project groups, just get you out there as much as they can, or to almost to advocate for you sometimes as well. You could actually say, if an opportunity comes up, would you be open to putting my name forward, or something like that. I would definitely get them to be more of an advocate. This is your advocate.
That's right. So they're the top quadrants. So now the bottom 2 quadrants. So what could you do? So improve the way that you're perceived by the people in those bottom 2 quadrants, which is they rate you poorly and you've got a strong relationship, or they rate you poorly and you've got a weak relationship. So for those who rate you poorly and you have a strong relationship, could you talk to them and find out why they don't think highly of your capabilities? And this is kind of like having could be a difficult conversation.
And the thing is, how do you know? So a lot of organisations have 360-degree feedback. And if you don't know if you don't have an idea of about what they are, I would actually start by listing down all the people that are important to your success in this organisation. Just start there. And then you can work out as to whether, with your manager, which quadrant they belong to. Yeah. And then if you still have questions, ask.
Yeah, and because maybe they've had an experience, bad experience with you, and then that's formed their perception.
Correct, yeah.
And how many times have we seen in an organisation, these turnarounds when people have actually gone out of their way to mend a relationship or a misconception,
or change the way that people perceive them. And I would say it takes time, energy, and effort, and a little bit of marketing on your part. But we have seen turnarounds where people have changed the perceptions that they have of individuals.
So for people who have rated you poorly and you've got a weak relationship, a couple of things you could do is, can you find out what these people value or think of as important? So what is important for them? And does this overlap with your area of work or expertise or a connection that you have? Could you be a little bit of a connector for them? And is there any way that you can work on improving the way that they view your performance? What would need to change or what would need to happen? Now, the challenge here is you're actually being open and vulnerable, and in an organisation you're rated on your level of competency, and when you're open and vulnerable you're actually showing a level of competency that isn't as strong. So there is a real opportunity here.
And the other thing is, Jen, you can't be everyone's cup of tea.
No.
You know, there are going to be some people that won't rate you, will never rate you. So, you know, move on.
Yeah.
Exactly. Don't waste your time and leverage those people who rate you highly. However, just be aware.
Okay, so step us through, Michelle, if you were to have a conversation with someone like that, how would you do it? Like, how would you set it up?
So if you've got a weak relationship, I definitely wouldn't do one-on-one. I wouldn't say, let's go for coffee. No, I would actually go, and I don't want to say, you know, through the back door, but I would find out who they do rate. You know what I mean? And I would just sort of, you know, I'm probably more subtle. I'd probably go to that person and find out, are there people that they rate highly that I have a relationship with? So it's sort of second degree, and then just start to, you know, find out. So I wonder, you know, and you might start to see some themes coming out as to why they rate this other person, and talk to that other person. Say, you know, this is an important stakeholder for my career in the organisation. They obviously rate you highly. What are they like? Tell me about them.
Yeah.
And then you might get a further insight and go, but I definitely wouldn't go direct.
Right. It's interesting because part of me would want to go direct because I want to hear it from the horse's mouth. However, knowing what we know about personality, I'd pick the time and their personality style, because there are some people who would find that too confronting.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
And, you know, part of the conversation I could say is that, you know, I am looking to develop this particular area in my, people management kit, and I rate you highly.
Exactly. Tell them. You know, just because they don't rate you, you can still rate them and appreciate that they have a lot of confidence in a certain area.
Yeah. So that's another way that you could actually start to build some type of connection.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So we really encourage you to, test it out.
Have a go.
Yeah, have a go. Take some action.
Let us know how you go.
Yeah. And what we have found over, you know, especially over the last 12 months, Michelle, it's those people who consistently take inspired action. So they've planned about it, they've thought about it, and it's important to them.
Yeah, inspired in the sense that they want to have a go at it. They're not doing it, because, you know, they told me to, or my coach suggested it, or maybe I should. It's that they want to either grow or develop. They're the ones that we can see making, you know, leaps and bounds in terms of their career as a people leader.
That's why it's kind of like the law of physics. You know, you get out what you put in.
Yeah, definitely.
So, you know, really encourage you to,
put in.
Yeah, and get a lot out.
Yeah.
All right. Bye.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode of the People Leaders Podcast. For show notes and other resources, please visit us at peopleleaderspodcast.com. While you're there, you can subscribe for future episodes so you can continue your own leadership journey. And please be sure to share this and other episodes with your friends and colleagues. The People Leaders Podcast is brought to you by the Experts on Air Podcast Network.